Hey everyone, how are you guys doing today? Boy, there was a lot of boxing news last night. Yesterday afternoon-ish, more like it. Teofimo's fighting Rolly Romero. Emilio Vargas has gone after Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. But I think the biggest news is there is now a crack in the foundation. Well, it's a little bit more than that. There is a breakup in boxing. As of yesterday afternoon, Gervonta Tank Davis is no longer going to be trained. I don't know if no longer, but he is now with Jose Benavidez Sr. Goodbye, Kenny Ellis. Goodbye, Calvin Ford, at least for now. Will he go back in the future? Who knows? Maybe Karnak? I sure as heck don't. But right now, Tank Davis will be trained under Jose Benavidez Sr. Is this a good move? Is this a bad move? That's what we're going to talk about today. But please, guys, like the video, hit the subscribe button, share the video. Down below in the comments, tell me your thoughts about this. Is this a good move in your opinion? Okay, so look, we all know Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis have been working with Tank since he was a little kid. He was like 7 years old when he started training with them. And it has been an incredible long run. No two ways about it. No doubt about it. Tank has called Calvin like a dad. Calvin has called Tank like a son. But now there's a split. Tank met up with Benavidez down in Florida, where he's also chatted with Derek James. And look, let me put it to you like this. Derek James is a good trainer, right? But I think going from a Calvin Ford to a Derek James is a backward step. I think that Derek James, and look, don't get me wrong, he's a nice guy. I think Derek James is Calvin Ford without the talent. And then I'm not saying he's bad, right? Because he's an okay trainer. Just not personally my cup of tea. If I had to choose between one of the two, I don't know who I would choose. I might choose choice C, no matter who that would be. So what's going to be next with Tank, right? He's still chirping with Shakur, still chirping with Keyshawn, but he appears now to really be zeroing in on a fight with Devin Haney, which, I mean, a lot of people technically don't like either fighter. So it would be hard picked for someone to see who they want to win. Now, both guys do have mandatories, and there's a very strong suspicion that both would be stripped. Devin for the WBO welterweight strap, not fighting Keyshawn Davis. And Tank has a WBA lightweight mandatory with Floyd Schofield. Apparently, at least on social media, new team Tank has reached out to Team Haney. So we'll see if that fight goes down. Like I said, it would be an interesting sort of a fight. Now, is that a big jump for Davis, right? Well, he walks around 155, 160-ish. At least that's what's been reported through the years. So fighting Haney at 147 I don't think it would be that bad. I mean, if he's walking around at close to 160, I mean, maybe you should be fighting at 147 straight up. And stop with this, lightweight crap. Why? Why would Tank 86 Calvin Ford? Well, reports have been that there's been some tension in Tank's camps. He hasn't fought since March of 2025 with, the whole Lamont Roach fiasco and his legal issues. Now, look, here's the deal. You can't blame all of that on Calvin Ford. You just can't. I'd say 95% of it has to go on Tank. Tank has to learn to take responsibility, for constantly assaulting women. This kid's going to wind up in a 6x6 for a seriously long time if he doesn't get his act straight. So can Calvin be blamed for Tank's woes? I don't think he can. You can't blame, even if it was a father-son deal, even if Calvin was Tank's dad, you can't blame the dad for the son's actions, just like you can't blame the son for the dad's actions. The other way around. Right? We see this with Teofimo and Tio's dad. You can't blame Tio for his dad's craziness. You can't blame Devin Haney for Bill Haney's craziness. So you can't blame Calvin for Tank's stupidity. What does a Tank being led by Jose Benavidez Sr. look like? Well, first and foremost, there's accountability. Tank is notoriously for press conferences, for meetings, hours late. I've had one-on-one conversations with Al Heyman about it. Okay, when Tank fought Raleigh in Brooklyn, I had a nice long conversation with Al Heyman about it, about how it's disrespectful, not just to Raleigh, but it's disrespectful to Heyman and to everybody involved, to the people setting up the meetings and the weigh-ins and the press conferences. Okay? Having everybody wait hours, and I'm not talking like 20, 30 minutes. I mean, Tank will show up to an event like that, an important meeting, important press conferences, important media days, 2, 3, 4 hours late. When he had the press conferences with Ryan Garcia, he was 3 hours late across the board. You can't do that. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to fly with Jose Benavidez Sr. Jose runs a tight ship. Yeah, you know what? He's both of his sons, are cool, but it's a family organization. There is a lot of responsibility. There is a lot of accountability. Can Tank handle it? Maybe somebody got in Tank's ear and said, look, bro, you need to change trainers. This is your last chance, or you're going into a 6x6. I don't know. And I doubt Tank will say anything. I'm sure Tank will say, it was time. I want to expand. I'm sure that's exactly what Tank's going to do. He's not going to say the truth. No way in hell. And if you don't know Jose Benavidez Sr., I kind of compare him to Bill Belichick in a way. A real tight ship where he has the reins. Okay, so a lot of the antics that Tank likes to pull will not fly with Jose Benavidez Sr. and Team Benavidez. It just won't happen. Now, Tank as an athlete, yes, he's absolutely great. Absolutely. But him training up at Big Bear in Cali, that's pure focus. That means no social media, no phones, because that's the way Benavidez Sr. runs the camps up at Big Bear. You know? It's come forward pressure. And look, Tank's a pressure fighter. It comes forward. But that's only going to be made bigger. That's going to be a bigger part of his game now. You know, we all know Tank has dynamite in both of his hands. Okay. And has a crazy uppercut. Benavidez Sr. will have him going to the body a lot more now than he ever has before. His cardio is going to be improved. There's no diva-ness at Team Benavidez. You know, David Benavidez and Jose Jr., they clean garbage. They do manual labor during their camps. Can Tank handle that? If Benavidez told Tank to go throw out the garbage, does Tank do it? Or does Tank hit Jose Benavidez Sr. with an uppercut? Is this the first start to Tank saying new division, new trainer, new life? I'm going to get it straight now. Because a focused Tank Davis, as much as I dislike him as a human being, is going to be interesting. There's not going to be 7 cars of bodyguards with Tank Davis anymore. That doesn't happen with Team Benavidez. Okay? David and Jose Jr. walk around, they're fan-friendly. Tank's never been fan-friendly. Ever. Do they turn this kid around to be humble? To be respectful? Not just to people on the street, but to fellow fighters. It's going to be interesting to see, folks. I want you guys down below to tell me what you think about this. Is this a good move? I never thought it would happen. I thought it was always going to be Tank and Calvin as Batman and Robin. I mean, nobody sings Tank's praises better than Calvin Ford. Do you guys think this is a good change? I mean, honestly, if this is Tank turning over a new leaf, finally, wow. And I'd like to see Tank at 147. There's a lot of good fights at 147. like I said, let me know down below in the comment section what you think about this. Please like and share the video. Hit the subscribe button. Until the next video, Cyclone saying, peace out, homies.